Okay, welcome to Tangle Tuesday. It's Loretta West, and I'm a certified Zentangle teacher, soul collage facilitator, and all-around art gal. And today we're going to do a very general lesson. Usually we do a lot of Zentangle inspired art, but I was thinking after doing Fall Tangle on Saturday that I needed a refresher. I needed to come back to what the essence of Zentangle is and get away from all the glitter, the what's the word I want to use? The techniques and the tools, and get away from that and go back to the beginning. So if you're new to Zentangle, this is perfect for you. If you are been doing it for a while but need to get a little refresher onto the back to the basics, then this is also good for you. And even if you're any of in between that, this will be good because it'll be very relaxing. So just to give you some ideas here, if you're looking for the YouTube lessons, they're under Color Garden Studio, and that's LOUR. And on Instagram, you can tag me with your work you put online if you wish under loretta.west.artist, and it's LORETTA. And feel free to join the Facebook group Tangle Tuesday, 2 words. And on it, I will put the Zoom link on Mondays, and also encourage you to share your work there that you've done either from the video or from these live classes. And so let's start here. Let's take a minute to get yourself situated. And put your feet flat on the floor if you can. So maybe take some deep breaths. Just a few deep breaths, and let it out with a sigh. So I've been doing a lot of research lately on something called the polyvagal theory, and it has to do with our vagus nerve, which is responsible for the regulation of our nervous system. So that's fight, flight, freeze versus rest and digest. And because of how we live now, such a fast-paced lifestyle, we tend to, and information's coming at us all the time, we tend to live in the space of fight, flight, or freeze, and we tend not to live in the space so much as rest and digest. Or we can't fluctuate very well between those two. We can't go back to rest and digest very easily anymore, as we were kind of designed. So if you want to, you can check. There's a lot on the polyvagal theory online. And one of the things that is good is creating. Creating is really good for the vagus nerve. It's very relaxing. It's life-giving, life-enhancing. And we're going to start with our lesson today, the very basis of Zentangle, which is gratitude. And while we're doing that, I'm going to go over what we're going to use today, and in gratitude for our tools that we're going to use. So this is a blending stump or a torchon, and we're going to use that to spread graphite. We're going to have a pen, and you don't have to use a pen. A lot of people, they start out, they use pencil. That's fine. They feel more comfortable. Do what is right for you. So this is a micron PN, but any fine tip pen will do. If you have a ballpoint pen, that'll work great too. So whatever you have, bring it to the table. And a pencil, and I've got a 2B. If you've got an HB, that'll work as well. And then you're going to need a piece of paper. Just about lost mine. Oh my goodness. Okay, you could use a Zentangle tile for today. I'm gonna find one here. So it's like that on the back, and then you draw on the front of it. or you can use a larger piece of paper, a sketch put pad, if you've got one, and I'm going to be using a Strathmore Artist Tile, Series 300, vellum surface Bristol Artist Tile for dry medium, which I really like because they're big and I can see it. And that's important. So grab whatever you need to make yourself comfortable. And
Loretta,
yeah.
Quick question on that Strathmore Artist Tile paper.
Yeah.
You said it's strictly for dry media?
It is not strictly, that's what it says. Okay, it says dry media on it right down there, but you can use, I mean, you certainly use markers on it, and you could probably use watercolor judiciously if you just didn't use a lot of water, or ink, same thing, but just don't saturate it. It couldn't take that. It's not like watercolor paper. It'll bubble, but
right, okay, because I bought some paper, not that one, and it's yeah, bubbling with watercolor. I'm like, ah,
yeah. So
because I can't tangle on the other pages because
right. Oh yeah. So
thank you, Loretta.
yeah, try that. And then if you're the other Strathmore also makes, so you might want to look into it, mixed media paper, and it comes in a pad, and it's not expensive. I usually get like 3 for a good price at Michael's, and so that's mixed media. So that can take a lot more. It is also 300 series, and it takes wet and dry medium, and it's 90 pounds weight. And so it can take a lot more. So that's got watercolor on it, so you can see. Okay, so getting back, so gratitude for where you are right now. I think a lot of times we spend saying, I don't want this to happen in your head, like, I can't believe this is happening, and I don't want it. Instead of saying this is happening and I'm accepting it as it is. I was reading an article by an artist who, it was her blog, and I don't read a lot of blogs, but this one really got me. And she said her life changed when she started to say yes to things, even the things that were uncomfortable and unimaginable in her life. She started to say yes, this is what's happening, and to have gratitude, knowing that whatever was happening was important, was part of her path in life. And I just thought that was really refreshing. So, think about that if you can. Maybe as you go along today in the next few days, what are you saying yes to? What are you saying no to? And just allowing it all to be here. Allow it all, whatever is going on, just allow it to be here. So we're going to start with our pencil. And as I said, you can use an HB pencil. I have a 2H, which is slightly softer. And I'm going to start with just a dot. So everything we do today, just actually go back, Loretta. It's been a while since I've taught a basic class. So what I like to tell people is, if you can print or you can write, you can do this. Because everything that I'm about to show you in this line is something that we do regularly for writing or printing. So we're either doing a dot today, a line, it doesn't have to be straight, a C shape, and it can go either way, an S shape, and it also can go either way, and a circle. So everything we do is going to be an element or include these elements. And everything you do when you're writing or you're printing includes these elements. So if you can do these in any fashion, you can do what we're doing today. Okay, now back to the dots. So we're going to start with a dot and put one in each corner of our paper or our space, whatever paper space you've chosen to use today. And I've got my paper sort of propped up a little bit so it's easier for me to manage. So I'm just gonna zoom that in so you can see. I'm gonna connect the dots, and you can connect the dots any way you want. You could make it sort of straight across. You could zigzag the edges. You could make them arced in either direction, inwards or outwards. You could put loops in them. It's really up to you. You might want to think about, how do I feel today, and make that indicative on your line. So today I'm pretty calm, and maybe a little loopy now and again, because that's always fun. And I'm just going to start, and just very lightly, notice how lightly I'm holding my pencil. So you're going to be careful with that as well, and just be very, very gentle with your pencil or pen today. Think about that. That you're holding a feather maybe in your hand. And at any time, if you're doing this or as we're going through and you think, oh, I want to do something different, then feel free to do go in a different direction. I'm just giving you a start, some ideas to start with. So we're going to start with a string. Now a string, all it is scaffolding. It's really hard if you're not an experienced artist to look at the blank paper and figure out where I'm going to start. Most of us start in the middle then. It's like, okay, with the middle, we'll start in the middle. But without some sort of guidelines, it's very difficult. So we're just going to start by doing our string like this. So it's just going to be arcing lines in the corner. Each corner has got an arcing or C-shaped line. And again, I'm using my pencil. And they're all about the same size, but they don't have to be exactly the same size. They can be different sizes. This is just rough. And if you're not familiar with Inktober, which is October prompts for different things, there's the Inktober, which started, I don't know how many years ago, and for ink artists. And so they have a word each day in October as a prompt, and then they make artwork from that. And with Zentangle, we do one, but with a tangle each day in October. And today's was Moon Pie, and that is by Rick and Maria, the founders of Zentangle, Rick Roberts and Maria Thomas. So I thought that would be fun to do in the corners. So I'm going to restate this line here. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm not going to go over that again. I've got my pen. I changed my mind. There you go. You can do that. And I'm just going to zoom out a little bit here. Zoom. Okay. And I'm going to do some C-shape or arcing lines. And you can decide, like sometimes it's easier to start at the top and work with gravity to come down in your lines. I find I go back and forth. And then do another one. Another set over here so that you have two sets of parallel lines. Slightly arcing, and they're not, I mean, notice that they're not perfect. They don't line up symmetrically together. They are what it is today. So every time you draw a Zentangle, depending on the day, it's going to be different because you're going to be different. We all are different day to day. So then from here to there, draw a line and then little spokes, have them come out. And notice also, like I always like to state that I'm going slowly. If you want to slow down, go slower. It seems like an obvious thing, but it's true. So you can do it, in a Zentangle, but you can also do it walking. So if you're in a situation where things are tense, and say you're, worried about going to a meeting or something and it's going to be tense, or you figured out it's going to be tense, try walking slowly to that meeting. If your phone is ringing and you are anxious to pick it up, try walking slowly to the phone. See what happens. See if it's different for you. So the same thing, we're going slowly. It helps. It helps to integrate. Okay. So then the next one, we're going to do continuous spokes, but they're going to be a little farther apart. And if you want, you could puddle in some black here, solid black on some of these. I'm just going to do some zigzags. Not every one. The great thing about many of the tangles is that you can do the basic and then you can embellish them the way you want. So I'm just going to puddle in some colors here. I'm just doing that in a circular fashion. And I'm lifting up my pen quite a bit. I'm not pressing in. I'm letting the ink flow, letting things be as they are, letting it just go. But if you want to come up with something else in the interim, another tangle in the middle of this space that you can think of would look really cool, then you go right ahead. I'm just going to black that in a little bit. And then I'm going to do some orb shapes, some round circles on the top here. And again, these new bifocals, I'm trying to figure out where things are. Some things are in focus and some things aren't. Fun and games. And I'm going to aura, which means just go around that shape in a mirror-like fashion. I'll do that again. Do that again. So there's lots of things that some people, different ways of approaching it. Sometimes people like to complete the full Zentangle tile and then do shading, or do it as they go along. So you can decide what you'd like to do. I've decided I'm going to do it as I go along here this morning. And so I'm going to take my 2B pencil and do a little shading here. So I'm just very lightly tickling the paper. And then I have more tortillon, and I'm going to spread it out. If you don't have a tortillon, you can use your little finger. You can use a Q-tip, a makeup sponge, just to give it a little more depth. And I'm going to just go along this line here at the top. Just give it a little bit of depth there. And it might be that you want to add color, and so you don't want to shade, but you can decide. And the idea with this one too is that each corner will be the same, so you'll repeat the same motif in the other 3 corners. It gives it that pillowy look. Add a little bit of shading. I think I'll just do the spokes coming down here. And take a second to notice how you're breathing, how you're sitting. Do you need to sort of straighten up more? Do you need to take your tools and put them down and take a deep breath? As we concentrate on things, sometimes we forget that part. We forget to breathe. Just take a deep breath and sigh it out. And then I'm going to do just some shading on one side of all these little orbs. I'm picking the same side. They don't have to be. Just tickling the paper, my pencil, very softly. So I'll give you a few minutes to sort of catch up there. And again, you're doing the same tangle, moon pie in each corner, and you could do it all the same design that you used before, or try something different. They don't have to be all the same. Or you could do this one the same, this one the same, and then pick and do this one, and this one that are the same. It really is up to you. I think I'm going to also do a little bit of shading down here. I already had the pencil line from before, so I'll just incorporate that. Shading really separates doodling, and there's nothing against doodling. I have nothing against it. I think it's great. I do it. But the shading really does change it into a Zentangle, in my opinion. It really makes it different. Okay. I'm just deciding what to do here. I'm gonna do here with my pencil. I'm gonna continue this drawing the string. Again, you could probably finish the Zentangle after the class. So I'm just going to keep moving here. And like that, and like that. And then about, well, it's about a third of the way here. And sometimes it's easier if you put a dot to give you an idea where you're going. So I'm just going to draw a straightish line this way. A third there to there. And a straightish line that way. I'm going to go back to my pen. And then here, it'll be on this one, this one, this one, and this space. I'm going to do the tangle called Sand Swirl. It's one of my favorites. And it starts with, I'm going to start at the bottom here, and it starts sort of like that. And then coming back. You can make the swirls as large or small as you want. And then coming off that, I'm going to do another one over here, and I'm going to do it the other way. Sort of like the number 9. And remember to breathe and give gratitude for all that's happening right now. Just allow it all to be here with you. And again, you would do sand swirl on this one, this one, this one, and this one. I'm just going to show you how to do the shading. So as the lines overlap, so what we have, I'll get my pencil out of the way. So we have lines going this way and lines going this way. And where they overlap, there's a little shadow. So you can see the shadow a little bit. And so we're going to, where they intersect, we're going to just tickle the paper with a little bit of graphite. Take our torchon. Whoops. Those things just fly everywhere. And do that. So it looks like some lines are going over the other. And then where they meet this pencil line, I'm going to do another bit of shading. So here we are completing a lovely piece of artwork with 4 tools. I mean, you think about that, it's pretty amazing, right? So you got your pen for ink, your pencil, your tortillon, your paper. So many, I've taken so many art classes in my life, and so many of them are heavy duty equipment and cost. It's refreshing to get back to something that's very simple, doesn't require great gobs of money, is highly portable, and relaxing and enjoyable. And I'm going to do a little shading here where these overlap, quite a bit darker in there, like a little tiny hidey hole in there. Where it comes in here, I'm going to do some shading. As well. If you want to really make them pop, go back to my pen, long pen, go back to this pen, and you can, in the center here, puddle in some black, but leave a little bit of shine. So leave just a little gap. So you've got a lovely little shine in there. Or if you know how to do dewdrops or raindrops with shading, you could do that as well. And I see there's some dark spots in here, some open negative space. I'm going to fill that in with black. I'm just going very lightly on the paper with my pen. I'm not putting a lot of pressure. I'm allowing the ink to flow. And I just sort of like to outline first. Always have, always been an outline colorer. But you don't have to do that. I'm just doing little circles so it doesn't get too streaky. And making these little circles is also relaxing. Where it comes in here, I'm going to go right over that shading that I did, but I'm just going to do it. Okay, so at the front here in the center, I'm going to find my pencil again. It disappeared. There it is. Okay, about halfway down, I'm just going to eyeball it and put a line here just very lightly to sort of bisect these two shapes. We're going to start with the Tangle pattern Be Tweed. So it starts up here, and you could make these lines as arcing as you'd like, or straight as you like. And then one here about an eighth of the way down, coming down this way. And I'm trying to get it. I didn't get it. So try to get them as close as you can on the other side. I'll do better on this one. There we go. Notice how slowly I'm going. They're not all going to be perfectly lined up, especially when I have my new glasses on and I can't see, but I'm doing the best I can for what I've got today. Mine are a little quick, a little wonky, but that's okay. Whatever shows up is fine. So I'm going to go up to this line, this little tiny line right there. Then where they intersect, we're going to do a little bit of rounding. So that's just filling in that little corner. With a little bit of black. I think you learn, you know, one of the things that Zentangle has really taught me that I've learned is how to be my best coach. To say, well, I'm doing this, well, you know, it's not perfect. But that's okay because there is no perfect. There's no real right way. There's no exacting way. Everybody who does it is going to do it differently. Today I'm struggling with new glasses, so I'm allowing for that and I'm saying it's okay. It's okay to be that way. It's what's here right now. And then I can do a little shading in here. These little peaks. Take my tortillon. Whoops. Go right in there. Just where they tuck into one another. And then here on the side, I can do some shading. So a little bit of shading right there. On this side. So, you know, it's hard sometimes to decide, okay, what pattern I'm going to do. So you can go on to tanglepatterns.com and they have the Tangle pattern randomizer on the lower left corner, and it's got a few patterns to suggest for you. I also just like looking at the top sort of, I guess it's a bar that goes across with all the patterns and it changes. And if something's there and it grabs me, I go, oh, okay, let's try that one. Or that's perfect for that space. And the other thing is to look at the space that you're filling. You know, is it arced like this? Is it peaked like that? Is there, any tangle will work, but is there a tangle that will work better because of this peakiness? So that's why I picked between, because of that shape right there. And because of the arc, this is why I picked sand swirl, because it's also arcing. So just to give you some ideas. And then on the other side, I'll flip it over. And you can always change your position. of your paper, flip it over, make it comfortable, turn it, whatever you need. And we're going to do it from the other side. See if I can do it better. I put my old glasses on. I said that was it. Enough of the new ones for now. Yeah, that's better. I can't see very well, but I can judge distance better. Oh man.
Loretta, can I
Yeah.
offer another free resource for kind
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
randomizer? So Annie Oken,
Oh yeah.
she has an app that's free, and she calls it the Art Raffle.
Yeah.
So you can just go on the Apple App Store and just download it for free and then play around with it.
Yep. I think it's also on Android, but I'm not sure. I don't remember if it's on both.
Yeah,
But
I don't know that. I don't have an
Yeah.
Android. But anyway, just
it's a good
there
one.
you go.
Thank
It is
you.
available on Android also.
Is it? Okay, thank you. So here we go. So this one looks different than the other side because I've got my different glasses on, but that's okay. Viva la différence. So I'm going to leave a space in the middle, sort of equidistant. We're not quite there yet. Almost there. We can come back and just round off. These little tiny little peaks in there, little V shapes. It's actually kind of hard to do with a PN. An 01 might be smart. So you can do that too. You can change nib sizes depending on what you're doing. If you have more than one size, you might want to switch to a finer or fatter depending on the space you're trying to work with. It's getting tinier and tinier. And what's great too is that you can have a plan if you want, or you can just sort of wing it. So today I'm kind of winging it. I'm going along saying, okay, let's make this shape. Let's fill it in. And just play, see what happens. There's a fabulous book that I recommend to any of my students, and it's called Steal Like an Artist. I can't remember the name of the author, Brian somebody. And here it is. He's written 3 books actually, and they're all good. And so it's called Steal Like an Artist by Austin Kleon. And it has wonderful, he's a writer, and I think he does cartoons, but it just works for any creative person to give you an idea of what you can do outside the rules, how to go outside the rules, how to play.
So you mentioned that he has other books too.
Yeah,
Do they kind of
yeah,
come in like a set, or are they
yeah. So
all
this is the
thematic?
first one. This is the first one. And the other, I know one of them is Show Your Stuff. I think that was the third one. And I think the middle one was called Keep Going.
Interesting. Thank you for the recommendation.
You're welcome. It's really good. I I often refer to them, even though I've read them a few times, but yeah, especially when you feel out of ideas, dried up, it's great, just great. So these two spaces, I leave up to you to fill in with any kind of tangle that you find that you think would go really well in this sort of square space. I can recommend Keiko, Keeko might be a thought. Hollabaugh might be another one. Knightsbridge might be really cool in here. I'm thinking that I might just do that right now to see what it looks like. Just to give it that, because we kind of have this, with this, we kind of have this circus kind of thing going on. So I'm thinking Knightsbridge would be cool. So Knightsbridge is very easy. It's just a checkerboard, and it doesn't have to be straight lines. It could be curvy. So let's do a curvy one. So they're about, my lines are about a finger width apart. Quite often when we're starting out, we try to put too much in a little space. So think about spreading your lines out. And then I'm going to black in every second one. So I'm going to put a dot where I want that to be so that I don't get confused. But if I do, I can work with that. Suppose I did two together in the top row right off the bat. Then I could do two together somewhere else. I could, change the pattern up. And then where the black dots are, I'm just going to puddle in some black. That's the classic way. You could also, do diagonal lines or little coils like Breton. Some other tangle in there. Let your imagination flow into possibility. You can go, you can see that's going to take forever. So you can get a larger nib pen. So I have a Identipen. It's got a larger nib, and I can go in here. You can also go in with Graphic 1, it's called, and that's also by Sakura Micron. They make one where they also make a brush pen, and there's lots of black brush pens out there by different manufacturers. So this is fun. I'm not giving you a lot of ideas on technique, technical stuff, and tools, and all that bling.
Loretta, it's me again.
Yeah.
The pest, the Zentangle pest. So when you're doing the Knightsbridge,
Yeah.
the term that I've heard Maria and Rick use is adding drama.
Oh yeah.
I'd like to get your sense of when you're using filling these dark shapes in with black, is that considered, so I think that's considered drama, but then using the lines that were much closer together and you be tweed, would that be considered drama as well? Or is it just, hey, just add a bunch of black here and there and that's the drama?
That's all very heady. I would think,
sorry.
that's okay, but I think that's really, well stated. Drama, I would say add contrast. Okay, this is from my art background, I would say you're adding contrast and you're adding weight. So when you have something like this, for instance, so that doesn't have a lot of black on it. So it's because it's light feeling, right? And there's a little bit of black, but not much, but it kind of gives it an ethereal movement. But when I do something that has a lot of more black on it, see like this one, then there you go, you got more contrast. And so this is an arty thing, so where the biggest contrast is, so where the lightest light is and the darkest dark, that is where your eyes are gonna go. Okay, so they're gonna go here, here, and here, and probably here, 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 and here, just because we're attracted to those contrasts, light and dark. And yes, it does provide more drama because you are providing more weight with the black. Does that explain it?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
You're so eloquent. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyway, I just, put it where if I look at something and I think, okay, it needs to have more weight to it, but I don't usually think that hard when I'm doing a Zentangle. I just go, well, this is how it turned out. Oh, that's interesting. It's more like I do what I'm attracted to. And some days there's more dark to it, and some days it's more light. So it's more of a gut thing with me than I'm not really thinking that hard. So there you go. That gets you started. And if you're new to Zentangle, there's so many resources, zentangle.com, and you can look at all their videos and information there. If you live in a center where there is a Zentangle teacher, you can go on zentangle.com and see if they're listed, if there's anybody listed near you. The best thing is to take a lesson with a certified teacher in your area. Hopefully they're doing in-person classes, which are even better, so they can see what you are doing. It's more difficult where I can't see you. I can't see what you're doing. So that's my first choice. Online, of course, like we're doing, is fine. Through books. Books are great. I learned initially through books, but then I was able to take more in-depth training. So yeah, so just have a lot of fun with it and relax. Enjoy. It's about, remember, when all art making, in the end, it is about the process. That really is, and what that process does to you while you're doing it. The rest, the end product, is icing on the cake. So I'm going to end the recording, but if you want to stay and show me what you've done, that would be great. Thank you very much for joining.